The forget-me-not pen. The sun was bright, the birds were singing, but a dark cloud hung over Nobita's head. He sat slumped at his desk, staring at a calendar. A big red circle was drawn around today's date. Below it, in his mother's neat handwriting, were the words, "Udiwat's books due." "Oh no," Nobita groaned, his head thudding onto the desk. "I completely forgot. The books are due today and I haven't even finished reading them. The librarian will be so mad." As if on cue, a familiar, cheerful voice came from the closet. "What's all the fuss about, Nobita?" Doraemon emerged, munching on a dorayaki. Nobita shot up, his eyes wide with desperation. "It's a disaster. I forgot to return my library books and I have a big test tomorrow that I also forgot to study for, and I promised Shizuka I'd help her with the gardening." He collapsed back onto his desk in a heap of despair. "My memory is a sieve." Doraemon sighed, swallowing the last of his snack. "You always leave things to the last minute. Honestly, you need to be more responsible." He thought for a moment, then his face lit up. He plunged his hand into his fourth-dimensional pocket. He pulled out a sleek silver fountain pen. The forget-me-not pen. Nobita looked at it, unimpressed. "It's just a pen. How is that supposed to help me?" "It's not just any pen," Doraemon explained. "Anything you write with this pen, you will remember perfectly. Write down your test notes and you'll know them by heart. Write a to-do list and you won't be able to forget a single task." Nobita's eyes sparkled. "Doraemon, you're the best." He snatched the pen and a notebook. First, he scribbled down his to-do list. Return library books. Help Shizuka with the garden. Study for the maths test. As soon as he wrote the last word, the tasks felt seared into his brain. He couldn't think of anything else. "It works," he exclaimed. He dashed out of the house, returned the books just in time, and then rushed to Shizuka's house, remembering every single detail of his promise. He helped her plant disease with surprising efficiency. Later, feeling confident, he sat down to study. He used the forget-me-not pen to copy all the difficult math formulas into his notebook. Instantly, the Pythagorean theorem and quadratic equations felt as simple as 1 plus 1. He was ready for the test. But then, Nobita got an idea, a mischievous one. Suneo had been bragging all day about a new video game he was going to buy. Nobita decided to have a little fun. He found Suneo in the park and asked him about the game. "It's the most exclusive, limited edition game ever," Suneo boasted. "You wouldn't even know how to play it." "Oh, really?" Nobita said, secretly taking out the pen. On a scrap of paper in his pocket, he wrote, "Suneo, you must tell everyone your secret, that you still sleep with a teddy bear." As soon as he finished writing, Suneo's eyes went wide. He stood up on the park bench and shouted, "Attention everyone! I, Suneo Hunkawa, still sleep with my Tid Vai Gendai Bir Emma." Gian, who was passing by, dropped his baseball bat in shock before bursting into laughter. Suneo turned bright red and ran home in tears. Nobita felt a little guilty but also thrilled with his newfound power. He started writing more things. He wrote that Gian had to sing everyone a lovely lullaby instead of his usual terrible songs. To everyone's astonishment, Gian began to serenade the neighborhood with a surprisingly sweet melody. Feeling unstoppable, Nobita went home and wrote, "Mom has to make me a giant stack of pancakes for dinner." But in his excitement, he didn't notice a drop of ink splash from the pen onto his textbook. The ink blot landed right next to a picture of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Suddenly, a loud crash shook the house. Nobita's mom rushed into the room not with pancakes, but with a look of sheer terror. Nobita peered out the window and his jaw dropped. A full-sized Rex was stomping through the neighborhood, its roar rattling the windows. The inkblot had brought the picture to life, and because it came from the pen, the T-Rex was now an unforgettable, living reality. Doraemon, Nobita screamed. Doraemon flew into the room with his bamboo copter. Nobita, what did you do? I didn't mean to, Nobita cried, holding up the pen. Gadgets are for helping, not for mischief, Doraemon scolded, taking the pen. He quickly pulled out the time blanket. They flew outside and after a chaotic chase, managed to throw the blanket over the T-Rex. In moments, the dinosaur day evolved back into a small, harmless fossil which then turned to dust. Panting, they returned to Nobita's room. The effects of the pen had worn off on Suneo and Gian, but the memory of the T-Rex remained. Nobita had to spend the rest of the evening explaining the giant footprints in everyone's yards. And for dinner, instead of pancakes, he got a long lecture and a small bowl of rice. As he went to bed, Nobita rubbed his sore head. He had learned his lesson. Some things like studying and being a good friend were best remembered the old-fashioned way, with a little bit of effort.